Why my CKD has not returned after 2016, Part 2, number 1601, April 18, 2026, Gerald C. EclaireMD Foundation, Category, CKD. Mechanism interpretation using VMT framework. My figures show a clear long-term directional shift after 2012, and even more clearly after 2014-2015. This is why the VMT framework emphasizes long-term trajectory behavior rather than isolated laboratory data. The key system observation is, my CKD risk did not suddenly disappear. Instead, the system gradually moved into a lower energy operating region and remained there. In practical terms, this shift helped me avoid progression toward kidney failure. This pattern appears consistently in 3 layers of analysis. 1. Time domain trend 201 to 2026. The TSI renal curve shows a progressive decline after 2012, followed by stabilization within a relatively narrow band between 53 and 76 in TSI renal risk values. This indicates 1. Reduced cumulative metabolic load. 3. Reduced mechanical burden on kidney microvasculature. 4. Improved system stability. In physics language, the biomedical system moved from a higher strain stress viscoplastic energy region into a lower strain stress viscoplastic energy region and remained there, clinically. Some temporary improvements often show rebound patterns, however. My recovery trajectory has remained stable and long-lasting. From the attached figure diagram, MY data shows sustained stability over more than 12 years. This persistence is important. 2. Stress-strain trajectory behavior. The stress-strain trajectory diagram shows path-dependent adaptation, nonlinear response, and hysteresis behavior. This pattern is consistent with gradual structural recovery processes observed in biomedical soft tissues when chronic stressors are reduced. Kidney microvascular structures are sensitive to glucose exposure, blood pressure loading, and metabolic inflammation. Reducing these long-term drivers allows functional stabilization. After 2016 turning point year, my TSI CKD trajectory remained within a relatively stable domain. 3. VMT energy accumulation pattern. The annual VMT energy percent curve rises rapidly during early years and then flattens. Interpretation: early period gives large physiological adjustment. Later period gives smaller incremental stress accumulation. This plateau behavior indicates that the system entered a controlled operating region. From an engineering perspective, this resembles a fatigue stabilization zone rather than progressive structural deterioration. Scientific interpretation. This analysis demonstrates longitudinal consistency, mechanism-based interpretation, and internal mathematical coherence. Instead of using descriptive narratives, 9 clinic physicians or isolated statistical correlations of traditional medical researchers. This metaphysical VMT energy approach analyzes cumulative stress interaction over time. A precise scientific wording is, this dataset provides strong longitudinal evidence consistent with mechanism-based interpretation. The observation period spans more than a decade. Multiple physiological variables show aligned improvement trends, and the results are consistent with known CKD risk drivers such as glucose, blood pressure, and metabolic load. In summary, the debate between population-based correlations and math physics energy analysis derived from an individual patient is largely unproductive. We should instead focus on the scientific foundation of research methodology and avoid introducing political, economic, or regulatory considerations into the scientific research domain. This represents the essence of true science. As you can see, I am tired of the endless and unproductive debate of one versus many, or statistics versus physics, mathematics, and engineering. That is not the real issue. The true objective is to save lives based on sound scientific principles. Conclusion: chronic disease progression behaves more like a long-term low accumulation process than a series of random isolated events. When major metabolic stress drivers are reduced simultaneously, BMI decrease, glucose decreases, blood pressure stabilizes, biomedical system trajectory shifts toward a lower energy region. My longitudinal dataset from 2013 to 2026 demonstrates that CKD risk indicators through TSI risk proxy remain stable within a low risk range for more than 12 years. This finding finally explains, through a purely scientific approach, why my CKD condition has not returned since 2016. The key insight is long-term trajectory stability contains more information than isolated single laboratory measurements. TSI and VMT energy analysis provide quantitative tools to observe direction of change, cumulative load, and system stability. This approach is based on mathematics theory and physics principles applied to biomedical systems. focusing on interaction, trajectory, and long-term structural behavior. It is not guesswork. It is quantitative observation of system behavior over long time. Epilogue. About 50 days ago, I came to Hawaii to rest and recover from a recent stroke. As part of my recovery process, I needed to obtain prescription medications from a local pharmacy and also establish a medical reference point in case an emergency hospital visit became necessary. For this practical reason, I scheduled an appointment with a local physician who specializes in lifestyle medicine. During the consultation, I intentionally did not provide extensive details about my research background or my prior medical analysis. However, I later learned that the clinic's computer system is fully synchronized with the Stanford Medical Network. As a result, the physician was able to review approximately 15 years of my historical medical records from 40 to 60 office visits. When I mentioned that I had experienced kidney-related issues about 16 years ago, he responded that he did not observe any indication of kidney problems in my past and recent records, based on the available laboratory biomarkers. His assessment was that both my kidney function and cardiovascular condition are currently within very healthy ranges. This independent clinical evaluation therefore provides objective confirmation that my CKD condition has not reappeared since 2016. From a scientific perspective, this observation is fully consistent with the long-term trajectory behavior predicted by both my TSI CardioRenal model and the VMT energy research framework. Both analytical approaches indicate that, after the period of 2013 to 2016, my biomedical system gradually shifted into a lower energy operating region and has remained stable for more than a decade. This real-world clinical confirmation serves as an independent validation of the trajectory-based methodology. It reinforces the key principle that long-term directional stability of metabolic and hemodynamic variables is more meaningful than isolated laboratory measurements taken at a single point in time. The convergence between clinical observation and physics-based modeling strengthens the conclusion that my CKD risk has remained under control for an extended period through sustained reduction of metabolic and vascular stressors. This result demonstrates the practical value of evaluating chronic disease progression through long-term system behavior other than relying solely on short-term observations. The fact that both analytical paths, bottom-up from my own modeling and top-down from the physician's clinical evaluation, led to the same healthy conclusion confirms that the TSI CardioRenal proxy is not merely a mathematical exercise, but a high-fidelity reflection of internal biomedical reality. Disclaimer: I write this paper not for fame, but to share what I have learned so others can understand their health, prevent disease, and live longer, healthier lives. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C. This content is provided for educational reference only and does not constitute medical advice. No doctor-patient relationship is created. You may share this summary freely, but it must not be altered, edited, or republished as your own. All intellectual property rights and copyrights for this article and its related materials belong to the author, Gerald C.